Welcome to Cool Bugs, the queen. Let's start with the three inhabitants of the hive. Let's begin with the drones. Drones are male and they come from unfertilized eggs. While male bees serve no architectural or pollinating purpose, their primary function is to mate with the queen bee. If they are successful, they fall to the ground and die after copulation. They have no stingers and have much bigger eyes than that of the queens and the workers. They are bulkier than the queen and the worker. Since their only function is to mate with the queen, in the wintertime they are thrown out of the hive and left to starve to death. The worker bees are females, and they come from fertilized eggs. And they do all the work in the hive. In the summer, 98% of the bees in a hive are worker bees. In the winter, besides the queen, all bees are worker bees. No drones in the wintertime. Workers feed the queen and the larvae, guard the hive entrance, and help to keep the hive cool and clean. They keep the hive cool by fanning their wings. Worker bees also collect nectar to make honey. Where does the wax for the honeycomb come from? The worker bees make it. The worker bees have 4 pairs of special wax secreting glands on the underside of their abdomen. From these glands, they secrete liquefied wax, which hardens into thin scales when exposed to the air. As the worker bee ages, these glands atrophy, and the task of making wax is left to the younger bees. After the wax hardens, the bee chews the wax until it is pliable and carefully shapes it into the hexagonal cells that make up the colony's honeycomb. The worker bees use their mouths to measure the thickness of the honeycomb as they build it, so they know whether more or less wax is needed. How cool it is! Who gets to be the queen? Any fertilized egg has the potential to become a queen. The term queen is typically used to refer to an adult mated female that lives in a honeybee colony or hive. A female bee with fully developed reproductive organs, she is usually the mother of most, if not all, of the bees in the beehive. Queens are developed from larvae selected by worker bees. There's normally only one adult mated queen in a hive, in which case the bees will usually follow and fiercely protect. The queen bee's abdomen is longer than that of the workers and the drone because of her egg-laying function. It is so long that her wings don't cover her abdomen. Queens are fed only royal jelly, a protein-rich secretion from glands on the heads of young workers. Worker larvae are fed bee bread, which is a mixture of nectar and pollen. But all bee larvae are fed some royal jelly for the first few days after hatching. But only queen larvae are fed the jelly exclusively. As a result of the difference in diet, the queen will develop into a sexually mature female, unlike the worker bees. In the picture, you see the queen larvae in the royal jelly, in their queen cell. The queens are raised in specially constructed queen cells. The fully constructed queen cells have a peanut-like shape and texture. Queen cells start as queen cups, as you see on the right. The queen cups are larger than the cells of normal brood comb and are oriented vertically instead of horizontally. As you see on the left, worker bees will only further build up the queen cup once the queen has laid an egg in a queen cup. In general, the old queen starts laying eggs into queen cups when conditions are right for swarming. As the young queen larva pupates with her head down, the workers cap the queen cell with beeswax. When ready to emerge, the virgin queen will chew a circular cut around the cap of her cell. During the swarming season, the old queen is likely to leave with the prime swarm before the first virgin queen emerges from a queen cell. When a young virgin queen emerges from a queen cell, she will generally seek out the other virgin queen rivals and will try to kill them. Virgin queens will quickly find and kill any other emerged or unemerged virgin queens by stinging. Mind you, the queen's stinger is not barbed, and she is able to sting repeatedly without dying. Here is an interesting one. In some species, there can be more than one queen in a beehive, and they fight with each other to death. In some occasions, some of the virgin queens escape the hive to avoid getting killed. The surviving virgin queen will fly out on a sunny, warm day to a drone congregation area where she will mate with 12 to 15 drones. If the weather holds, she may return to the drone congregation area for several days until she is fully mated. Mating occurs in flight, which accounts for the need of the drones for a better vision, which is provided by their big eyes. The young queen stores up to 6 million sperm from multiple drones in her spermatheca. She will selectively release sperm for remaining 2 to 7 years of her life. The young queen has a limited time to mate. If she is unable to fly for several days because of bad weather and remains unmated, she will become a drone layer, which is bad news for the colony because the workers have no fertilized larvae from which to raise worker bees or a replacement queen. The egg laying usually begins 2 to 3 days after the queen returns to the beehive. The primary function of a queen bee is to serve as the reproducer. A well-mated and well-fed queen can lay about 1,500 eggs per day during the spring buildup. It is more than her own body weight in eggs every day. The queen bee is able to control the sex of the eggs she lays. The queen lays a fertilized or unfertilized egg according to the width of the cell. The drones are raised in cells that are significantly larger than the cells used for workers. The queen fertilizes the egg by selectively releasing sperm from her spermatheca as the egg passes through her oviduct. The queen bee is continuously surrounded by worker bees who meet her every need, giving her food and disposing of her waste. Attendant workers also collect and then distribute queen mandibular pheromone, a pheromone that inhibits the workers from starting queen cells. I think that's how the queen protects herself from young rivals before her time. What happens when the queen dies suddenly before her time? In that case, the workers will attempt to create an emergency queen by selecting several brood cells where a larva has just emerged, which are then flooded with royal jelly. But what happens if the queen becomes diseased or failing to reproduce? Then the workers will replace the sick queen in a procedure known as supersedure. When the workers detect that the queen is diseased or failing, then they will rear replacement queens. When the new queen becomes available, the workers will kill the reigning queen by boiling her. which is clustering tightly around her, raising her body temperature, causing her to overheat and die. That's a sad situation, but for the survival of the hive, a healthy queen is needed. Well, so is wildlife. Thank you for joining me and take care until next time.